How did a farm boy and school dropout revolutionize an industry? Henry Ford was not only a pioneer in the automobile industry, but he was also an instrumental in changing the way people worked and how we travel today. His business has played its role in everything from the rise of the middle class up to the outbreak of the most current pandemic, all while serving the world with competence and morality. Welcome back to CompanyWorld. So how did Henry Ford do it? And how did Ford come to be an industry leader? Let's find out. He was born on July 30, 1863, in Greenfield, Detroit, Michigan, to a farming family. That is Mary Ford, his mother, and William Ford, his father. Despite being one of 8 siblings in a farming family, he was never interested in patriarchal farming or farm management. His preference was for outdated machinery. Henry had always been a bit of a wild child. Even though he was enrolled in school, he was unable to complete his schoolwork for a substantial length of time due to his restlessness and mischief. He was even kicked out of school for his behavior. And in 1875, sadly, his mother passed away. He stopped his studies, but he never lost his interest in machinery. When he was 15 years old, he started seeking solutions to various minor mechanical problems. His father encouraged him to pursue his interest. He would take part his father's watch to do the necessary repairs himself. When he was 16 years old, he ran away from his family and started working as a mechanic in Detroit City. There, he worked with James Flower as a collaborator. After that, he worked at the Detroit Dry Dock for some time. Then in 1882, he went back home and spent 3 years helping out on the family farm. He used a steam engine at this time to labor on the family land. Later, the Westinghouse Steam Engine Company recruited him. And at Bryan and Stratton College in Goldsmith, he has also pursued bookkeeping coursework during this period. Then in 1891, Henry Thomas Alva began his career in the field of engineering at Edison's Edison Lighting Company. He worked there throughout the night shifts while simultaneously polishing his talents as an automobile engineer during the day shifts. In 1893, he was promoted to the position of chief engineer, providing him with financial success and expanding his knowledge of auto-technical matters. After that, he set his sights on developing a motor vehicle that was powered by gasoline. Despite the fact that it was finished in 1892, the very first vehicle had more than its fair share of deficiencies. In 1896, he built what was then known as a Ford quadricycle. The automobile was subjected to many test drives on public roads, and efforts were being made to enhance the vehicle. After that, he conferred with Thomas Alva Edison's company and went on to design a second vehicle whose inspiration came from Edison. He completed this particular project in 1898. Now, he planned to launch his own automobile manufacturing company, and on August 5, 1899, he founded the Detroit Automobile Company so that he could work toward achieving this objective. Prior to the implementation of this change, the autos produced by the firm were of poor quality. On the other hand, Henry's objective was to make it possible for customers to acquire low-cost, high-quality automobiles. As a result, he became more involved with it. In 1901, he had an idea for a vehicle that had 26 horsepower. Moreover, there is the Ford Motor Company, which got its start thanks to the support of stockholders in the Detroit Automobile Company. His name was given to the company that he established, and he went on to become the company's chief engineer. After being wooed away by Alexander Malcolmson's consulting business, Leland ultimately decided to leave the organization in which he had been employed. They worked together in 1903 and were successful in securing funds from a new sponsor, which allowed them to revitalize the Ford Motor Company. The Model T and the Model A were the first important vehicles ever produced. Henry Ford began marketing the automobile the next year, 1908. Since then, more people from the middle class in the United States would now afford to own cars. The T model was the first mass-produced automobile, and it is often credited with transforming the automobile from a luxury item to a practical need. After the vehicle known as the Model T, and had been extremely successful for a period of 16 years, he started work on the Model A in 1926. Over the span of 20 years, Ford sold around 17 million Model Ts, and the company's iconic automobiles are still up for grabs at auctions to this day. There were sales of around 4 million Model A automobiles. Evidently, the Model T and the Model A are the two vehicles that helped make Henry Ford a household name. Over to his personal life, after marrying Clara Bryant, Ford became a father in 1893 to their child. Henry Ford is a model of a human being who is worthy of admiration. He was honest with himself at all times, and he inspired others to do the same. At that time, his company was the only one in the United States that paid its employees $5 per hour. In a sense, he respected the contributions of those working for him. He expanded the professional development and volunteer options that were made accessible to the employees of his firm. In point of fact, the Ford Foundation that he formed is still contributing to contemporary efforts in the field of humanitarian work. During World War II, he was also a participant in international attempts to avoid the staging of riot facades. However, Ford's political opinions were extensively criticized from the beginning of his career, when he attempted to stop the United States from joining World War I all the way up to his death. In 1918, he made an unsuccessful bid to become a member of the Senate of the United States of America. His opponent embarked on a brutal campaign of attacking him on a personal level. In 1947, Henry Ford passed away in the comfort of his own home in Dearborn at the age of 83, leaving his grandson Henry Ford II as the CEO of the company. If you did the math, you may have inferred that Ford has more than a century of business under its belt. And well, it has been through a lot. It was able to experience every key advancement in automotive technology that was available at that time. For instance, they were eventually conscripted to assist during World War II, and their contributions to the nation's effort to repair its infrastructure were critical. During this time period, several of Ford Motor Company's most well-known vehicles, such as the F-Series trucks and the Ford Mustang, were introduced to the market for the first time. And they're nothing if not collectibles. But it does not matter how impressive the history is, we cannot ignore the production that is occurring right now. If you search through the archives, you will come across the same number of undiscovered models. There is no question that Ford is one of the most successful and significant automakers in the whole globe. But to what exact degree does it extend? Well, more than 5 million products are manufactured on a yearly basis across the corporation's sites, which are located all over the world. Moreover, they have their hands on a number of other pies. There are no limitations to what you can find, so whether you're searching for a reliable commuter vehicle or a solid heavy-duty truck, you'll have no trouble finding what you need. You're able to drive with full assurance since you are certain that the automobile you have selected is rugged, trustworthy, and will deliver the best performance possible for both work and play. And now, in response to a car industry that is becoming more unstable as a result of increased competition, uncertainty, and technological innovation, Ford has begun what it calls a global makeover to become more nimble and less bureaucratic. According to Jim Hackett, the chief executive officer of Ford, this redesign will result in cost savings of $14 billion by 2024. Ford said in January 2021 that between then and 2023, the company would devote 90% of its worldwide capital allocation to the production of trucks, SUVs, and commercial vehicles. As a result, Ford will progressively cease production of sedans and other compact cars over the course of the next 4 years and completely exit the market for these vehicles. So, what do you think about the man behind Ford? And what about his company? Comment below and let's interact. Also, please leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. That's all for today's video, and see you in the next one.